Hey, everybody, welcome to Week 10. NFL points, picks, and props. Half the season gone, half the season still to go. Over here on this shoulder is Tommy Burt. She is in Massachusetts. On this shoulder is Ben O'Connell. He is in Chicago. I'm Kyle Garland in Denver, Colorado. We're going to bring you all of Sundays and Mondays picks for this weekend in the NFL. Point spread picks, prop picks. We're going to do it all. But guys, Week 9. It turns out if you play really good defense, you can beat the Buffalo Bills. And if you play really terrible defense, like 32nd ranked defense in the league, you could beat the Green Bay Packers. Some nice results here to end up the first half of the season.
Oh yeah, there's not much to say about that. It was a very interesting week.
Hey, football's football is any given Sunday, right? That's what makes gambling so exciting. Losing money, winning money,
That's what we love about the NFL. Anybody can win on any given Sunday.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers throwing 2 interceptions in the end zone.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Where is Aaron right now?
Yeah, I'm going to be hammering the heck out of those sound drops. I love the Aaron, and he is just he's such a little prissy prig. The guys who aren't making plays should be maybe should have their playing time cut. All right, I'm happy for Jordan Love's season to start. I think that's a good idea, Aaron. All right, anyway, it's just fun to watch. Like I take no joy in Josh Allen getting hurt because he's fun to watch. He's good for the league. By all accounts, he's a good dude. You can see that his teammates love him. Aaron Rodgers, the opposite of that, kind of a dick. And so watching him lose is not unenjoyable at all. All right, so I am a little sad that half the season is gone because this off season is such a long wait for football to start, and here we are now already halfway through the year. So some of my blues have actually made me a little sick tonight. I'm going to try not to cough too much into the microphone. If I do, you as well as Tommy and Ben can all just join in a conversation while I work my way through it. I've got a number of meds on board. I've got myself a cup of tea with a little shot of bourbon in it just to make sure that my throat makes it. But we are going to cover every single game, beginning with the Munich game Sunday morning through the Monday night game on Monday. Anyway, as we do every week, we start off with a game so that we can decide which of my 2 co-hosts get to go first in his giving his picks, and then also in making his favorite his top dog and his easy money line picks. Tonight's game, I'm super excited about. It's got a bit of a throwback feel.
Ladies and gentlemen, name that
team. That's right. We are going to play Name That Team. And the edit there was seamless. Yes, that was the Name That Tune theme song, but you can't really even tell that there was anything done to it. It's Name That Team. So guys, I don't know if you're familiar with Name That Tune. It does go back to the 1970s, although I think they do have an updated version that's airing right now. Jane Krakowski is the host. Randy Jackson, who's continues to get work for some reason, is the musical director on the show. So basically, it comes down to this. I've got a number of NFL teams here. I've got 6 facts about each team. You can say, hey, Ben, I can name that team in 6 facts. And Ben can say, Tommy, I could name that team in 5. Then you counter back with 4 facts, and then he says, name that team. I then read off the facts, and you tell me which team we are talking about. Now, we're going to do a little bit here so that we can actually score. So if you say, Tommy, say you're going to name that team in 3 facts, and you don't, Ben then will get to hear all 6 facts and see if he can't steal the point. Make sense? Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sounds good.
So this is an even week. That means Ben first. So Ben, I've got my notepad here to keep score. So I've got a team here in mind. How many facts can you name that team in?
4.
Okay, Tommy.
Do it in 4.
So do I have the option of saying like no?
You can
Less.
underbid him. You underbid him, and then you keep bidding down
can-
until
I can name it in 5.
No.
you
You
got to
have
underbid
go-
him.
Oh,
You have to go
underbid. I have to.
lower.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll name
yeah.
it in 3 then. I'll name it in 3. My bad.
Okay.
All right, you can do it at 3. I don't care.
All right. Name that team. We're going to name that team in 3 facts. Okay. Tommy, this team was founded in 1966. They have made 2 Super Bowl appearances, and they have produced 1 league MVP. Those are your 3 facts.
Is it the Seattle Seahawks?
It is not. It's not the Seattle Seahawks. So, Ben, I'm going to give you the other 3 facts now, and you can see if you can't name that team. Okay. The 4th fact, first Super Bowl appearance was Super Bowl 38. Their current defensive coordinator is Dean Pease, and the winningest head coach in franchise history is Mike Smith.
Is it Tampa?
Unfortunately, it is not. It is the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh,
The Atlanta
That's
Falcons.
crazy. I did know that. That is insane, but I didn't think that they were an expansion. No, they were. I'm stupid.
You're not stupid. There's no such thing as a stupid person, just some stupid answers. Okay.
Yikes.
Tommy, the bidding starts with you on this next team.
I can
many
name
facts?
it in 4. I can name
4
it in 4.
facts.
3.
Okay.
3. I got this. Watch this. Watch me soar. 3. I got this.
You can still underbid him, Tommy, if you want.
No, I'll leave it there.
Name that team. All right, Ben. Here are your 3 facts. Founded in 1968, 3 Super Bowl appearances, and they have produced 2 league MVPs.
I'm going with Seattle.
All right, Tommy, I'm going to give you now the other 3 facts. Their first Super Bowl appearance was in Super Bowl 16. Their current offensive coordinator is Brian Callahan, and their winningest head coach is Marvin Lewis.
Wait a minute. Well, first of all, my question is, the league MVP, is that them producing 1 year of a league MVP or 2 players? Sorry, 2 players that were league MVPs could be multiple times.
Could be the same player winning twice.
Okay.
It also could involve AFL MVPs because that is a league MVP.
So you said 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 league MVPs.
2 league MVPs. Their first Super Bowl appearance was Super Bowl 16. Brian Callahan is their offensive coordinator, and Marvin Lewis is the winningest head coach in franchise history.
Give me. Ooh. And what was Ben's guess again? Was it
Ben guessed Seattle. Ben is going to be very mad at you if you don't get this.
What, he knows? I don't know.
He does know. He absolutely knows.
Okay.
I'm going to say. I'm going to guess that last fact gave it away.
Yeah, I just can't put the pieces together. I'm going to say Denver just because.
It is the Cincinnati Bengals. Marvin Lewis, the longtime head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals.
I didn't put those together.
There are 2 league MVPs. Ken Anderson won the MVP in 1981 and Boomer Esiason in 1988.
I should have known that. That's kind of depressing.
Super Bowl 16, they lost to the San Francisco 49ers and Joe Montana.
Yeah, I should have known that.
Oof.
Okay. Ben, back to you. You want to go ahead and begin the bidding process here?
I'll go at 4.
Give me
4
a 3.
facts.
Give me a 3.
We're just gonna keep doing this.
3 facts. Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna go at 3.
All right.
I'm not underbidding.
Okay, Tommy. This team was founded in 1960. They have appeared in 8 Super Bowls, and they have won 3 league MVPs.
8 Super Bowls.
8 Super Bowls.
3 league MVPs.
1960.
That's such a familiar date.
It is indeed.
And then just 8 Super Bowls is a lot of Super Bowls.
It
You know what?
is.
This could be either like terrible for myself as a fan, or wonderful because I hate it. But is it San Francisco? It was a good guess.
San Francisco plays, or they were founded before 1960.
Yeah, but it was close. I feel like I had some numbers there.
Ben, do I need to give you the other 3 facts? Because I can do that.
I probably need them just to be sure.
Fact number 4, their first Super Bowl appearance was in Super Bowl 12. Their current offensive coordinator is Justin Oten, and their winningest head coach in franchise history is Mike Shanahan.
Oh, is it the Broncos?
It is, in fact, the Denver Broncos. Ben,
right, you take your one. Take your one.
That was crazy.
Okay, Ben, it is your turn to start bidding.
I'll go at 4 again.
Okay,
I thought it was my turn.
I believe you
said,
started
give me the
that
3.
last one.
No, I started the last. Wait. I don't know how the turn system works in this. I'm just going to default to Kyle on this. I have no idea.
So it's me, right? I think.
Yeah.
4.
4, okay.
Yeah. I'll undercut him at 3, just for funsies.
Okay. That's 3. And Tommy?
I'm keeping it where it is.
Okay.
2 is too dangerous.
All right. We're going to name that team in 3 facts. This team was founded in 1946. They have 0 Super Bowl appearances. They have produced 4 league MVPs.
That would be Detroit.
All right, Tommy, I'll give you the next 3
Wait, so
facts.
it's
Obviously,
1946. You said 0 Super Bowl appearances?
0 Super Bowls, 4 league MVPs. Obviously, their first Super Bowl appearance is not applicable. Their current defensive coordinator is Joe Woods. Their winningest head coach in franchise history is Paul Brown.
Wait a minute. You said 1946, 0 Super Bowl appearances, 4 MVPs. Is this the
Paul
Cleveland
Brown?
Browns?
It is, in fact, the Cleveland Browns. You are on the board. We are tied at 1. One more round to go. Okay. So Tommy, you did that one. So Ben, we'll start with you.
4.
3.
Yeah, go for it.
Name that team.
Okay, Tommy. This team was founded in 1920. They have appeared in 1 Super Bowl. They have never produced a league MVP. Over 100 years of football,
1920 is a
0
long time ago.
MVPs.
1920 is a long time ago.
1920 is the very first year of the National Football League.
Yes. Can you say those again? So it's 1920.
1920, 1 Super Bowl, 0 MVPs.
Is this?
No Googling.
I'm not. I'm trying to think. Is this? No. I don't know how many Super Bowl appearances they have. Is this Chicago? Ben thought that I was right there.
That's what would have been my guess. I have no.
Chicago has appeared in multiple Super Bowls, not just 1. They were 1 in 85, and then they had that year they lost to the Colts. Okay. Ben, the next 3 facts. Their first Super Bowl appearance was Super Bowl 43. Their current defensive coordinator is Vance Joseph. Their winningest head coach in franchise history is Bruce Arians.
Cardinals?
It is, in fact, the Arizona Cardinals. One of the original teams in 1920. They have yet to have an MVP in all of those years. Okay.
Vance Joseph was the giveaway, not Bruce Arians. Let the record show.
I'm not happy.
All right,
about
Tommy.
this.
Tommy, you begin the bidding.
4. I like this one. I like
3.
this.
3. Okay. Are you letting him go at 3?
Yep. Let him go.
Okay.
Name that team.
All right. This team was founded in 1976. They have appeared in 3 Super Bowls, and they have produced 1 NFL MVP.
This
3 Super Bowls, 1 NFL MVP, 76. 76 wasn't 76 the expansion year?
There were a lot of expansion years, but 76 was one of them, yes.
Well, yeah, one of the expansion years.
don't.
I hate going back to it again, but like
Dude.
Seattle, like it's got to be Seattle, right?
It is, in fact, the Seattle Seahawks. Their 1 NFL MVP was Sean Alexander in 2005. All right. We are now tied. So we're going to play a little basically, whoever gets this next one is going to win.
Golden.
So you guys can bet it down, and you can either rely on the other person to miss, or you can try to get it yourself. All right. So Ben, we will start with you for this next team. Begin the betting process, please.
Go at 4.
4. All right.
I can let that sit, right?
You can let that sit. You can
I'm
have him
letting that
pick.
sit. I'm letting that sit.
All right.
Because you win, it's always going to happen.
Okay.
You're going wild. We go.
This team was founded in 1960.
Mm-hmm.
They have appeared in 1 Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They have 3 MVPs, and their first Super Bowl appearance was Super Bowl 34.
Super Bowl 34. I want to say this is a weird question. If a team had moved, would you call it its foundation when the team that eventually moved there opened, or when the team opened there?
This particular franchise, the only franchise that does not count its previous records is the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, the Ravens. The Ravens are a brand new franchise when they moved to Baltimore. Their years in Cleveland don't count. Every other team counts their previous years. So 1960 is where this team began, not necessarily where they moved, if they moved.
Okay. Well, I guess that solved my jeez. 99. I don't know why. My head says Ravens, but I'm not sure if I just understood that correctly. I don't think it could be the Ravens because they moved. This is an AFL team. Only 1 Super Bowl appearance. It was Super Bowl 34. Jeez, I'm taking up so much time right now. I'm going to say Titans.
Oh,
It is, in fact, the Tennessee Titans. There are 3 NFL MVPs. George Bland in 1961. In fact, he was actually an AFL MVP. Earl Campbell in 1979. And Steve McNair in 2003. The other facts
the
for
worst
them.
part was?
Todd Downing, the current offensive coordinator.
Crazy.
Jeff Fisher, the winningest head coach in franchise history.
The worst part is I know Super Bowl 34 is the St. Louis Rams against the Tennessee Titans. I knew it couldn't. Oh, my goodness. All right. We're good.
Yes,
I'll take my L.
That's all right. You're fine. But
It was a good battle. It was a good battle.
Incredible detective work there.
All right. So that means, Ben, you are going to get us started. Congratulations on your victory.
Oh, thank you so much.
Let's go ahead and jump right in with your first game, please.
Yeah, let's go to game number 1. That's going to be the Minnesota Vikings at the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills coming off of a stumble against the Jets. I'm going to take Minnesota plus 3.5. Kind of looks risky. My intuition is Josh Allen is more injured than Sean McDermott wants to let out. I think that he doesn't want Minnesota to be able to game plan, knowing that Allen isn't going to be playing. I expect the line to move when the injury report does eventually come out on Sunday. If Allen is unable to play, it might be good to get your ticket in quick before that happens. The other thing that's really big for Buffalo is that Russo, Edmonds, Milano, White, Poyer, Jackson, they're all questionable on the defensive side of the ball. They got like four guys who are actually healthy. Minnesota came back against, admittedly, a Commanders team that they shouldn't have been down against. There was also that fluky play with the ref blocking a defensive player that allowed Washington to score a touchdown that put them into that deficit. They weren't too, mentally phased out by that. They were able to get back into it, came back, won a big game. Kirk Cousins, huge celebration on the plane, all over social media. I like Minnesota to have a repeat success. I don't know if they win, but I do like them to be within a field goal here.
Yeah, all signs point to Allen not playing this week, and then they've got Cleveland and then Detroit on that short week for Thanksgiving. That's 3 games in 11 days, and 3 winnable games. Casey Keenum is a pretty good backup. He had a couple of uninspiring starts for the Browns last year. Before that, you got to go back to 2019, where actually the first game of the season this was when he was playing with Washington, threw for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Eagles. He's not a bad backup at all. So I think that the Bills will roll with him because let Allen heal up. You've got a relatively easy stretch of the schedule. No reason to keep him from getting healthy when you're going to need him in December and obviously January. So, but I do think that I like what you're saying about that. I think the Vikings, because of that, will be able to cover this spread. I like Minnesota in this place because of that.
What really gets me here is the type of injury, like the UCL injury in his throwing arm. That's a tough one, especially with a guy with a cannon like him. I expect them to put him on rest, especially with how far ahead they are in the AFC. They're still considered one of the top 3 or 4 best teams in football, even after the loss to the Jets. They can hang. Take a week or 2 with Case Keenum because he proved not only just in Washington, but I'm pretty sure the year before, 2016, he put on some decent performances with the Vikings, if I'm not wrong. The guy can ball. He's one of the higher level backup quarterbacks in the league with the experience he needs. But yeah, that plus 3.5 is looking quite tasty with the loss of Josh.
And I enjoyed Casey Keenum when he was a Denver Bronco.
I'll tell you what, us Denver fans, we don't really bet on Case Keenum. Speaking of Denver, let's just move on to that next game. There,
okay, all right, fair enough.
Let's just talk about the Denver Broncos at the Tennessee Titans. I got a little bit to say about this. I'm all in on the orange Kool-Aid, okay? But hear me out. I'm gonna give it a little bit of both sides, okay? First, here's the number one. Tannehill question mark? He's questionable. We don't know who's going to be playing. Is it going to be Malik Willis or is it going to be Ryan Tannehill? And here's the thing. If it's Malik Willis, he's going to be all of a sudden playing against one of the best defenses in football. For your second start in the NFL, that's quite the task. This here's the thing. Tennessee also is having a lot of defensive injury issues. They got everyone except for 4 of their starters are questionable, which is absolutely wild. Here's the bright side for Tennessee. Denver's defense is lacking in the run stop a little bit. They are averaging about 4.9 yards a carry. Opponents are averaging 4.9 yards a carry on the Broncos. That is the 27th worst defense run average there. And they're 21st in the league in rush yards allowed. I do think, though, ultimately that Russell Wilson started piecing it together late game against Jacksonville. A couple weeks ago, I came on the show. I said the big issue in Denver is that there's no belief that in the final seconds of the game that the Broncos have a team that can go down and put together the components of having a winning drive. They showed that against Jacksonville. That was the piece that they were missing. And if they can replicate that this week, I like Denver to win the game, not just a cover point at 2.5. But then again, I also have to tell myself these things, or else, the season is just a bleak, dull cloud, So with that being said, I'm taking the Broncos at plus 2.5. I think there's more value there that is kind of in between the lines.
Well, like you said, the Broncos are they're ranked second in the league in DVOA, defensive DVOA, number 1 in defensive DVOA against the pass, 25th against the run. And what do the Tennessee Titans like to do? Well, they like to run the football because they've got Derrick Henry and because Malik Willis is not yet fit to be an NFL starting quarterback. And Tannehill was a limited participant last week, and then, of course, he didn't play against the Chiefs. He was a limited participant this week. I don't think he's going to play. It's a high ankle sprain. They've got a nice, comfortable lead in the AFC South. There's no reason to not let Tannehill get fully healthy. Nobody in that division is going to challenge them. Just hand the ball to Derrick Henry, let him do his thing. But one word of caution. So against Kansas City last week, obviously they made it a tight game. Tennessee had 196 yards in their first 3 possessions. Their last 10 possessions, they had 7 yards and 1 first down. 7 yards in 10 possessions. The Chiefs figured out how to shut down Henry in that second half. The Broncos certainly can figure out how to shut down Derrick Henry. Henry will get a few runs, but he's not going to torch them all game long, and that's going to be the difference. I think the Broncos actually win this game outright, and I hate saying that. I want to I don't know, go run around and slam into a wall because that's just against everything that is my being. But it is what it is. The Titans right now offensively can't do anything, and the Broncos are pretty good defense. So there you go, Denver Broncos to win this game outright.
Yeah, well, I think that, we all kind of glanced over it, but Malik Willis has not been impressive. Slightly disappointing, in all honesty, and I kind of understand why he was benched for the mediocre Tannehill to start the season. And, yeah, I mean, you guys hit all the points. Like, the Broncos defense, I mean, even with Derrick Henry, what else do they need to defend? Like, they can just pack the box, fill every gap. Six men rushing for every 5 men blocking. Like this just isn't going to be a fun game for Tennessee.
All right. Well, shall we move on to the next game then, Ben?
Yes, sounds good. Let's talk about New Orleans at Pittsburgh. This New Orleans team, though they are 28th in points allowed, they're 11th in offensive points scored. All right. They're scoring about 23.6 points a game. And sneakily, they're actually 6th in the league in yards per game. I think that's a stat that not a lot of people are realizing. They're averaging around 377.6 yards a game, which is an insane amount. And the thing is, Pittsburgh is really not that great of a team. Even though New Orleans is having trouble putting points on the board, you don't have to worry about putting points up on the board against Pittsburgh, who's 31st in the league in points a game. They're only putting up around 15 points a game. And they're 28th in yards per game. They're just a floundering offense with a mediocre defense. I think New Orleans has a way to generate points. They have a way to generate drives. I like New Orleans in this to cover 1.5 points. I think that they win by 5 or 6.
I came across this stat for this game in particular. So every team's longest touchdown. Now the Bills are on top. They had a 98-yard touchdown. The Ravens had a 75-yard touchdown. There are 5 other teams at 75. 22 total teams have touchdowns of over 50 yards. 31 teams have had touchdowns of at least 23 yards or longer. The longest touchdown of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 8 yards. This is a boring, plodding offense that has absolutely no ability to make any kind of big plays. The New Orleans Saints, however, do have playmakers. Chris Olave, perhaps the best defensive or best offensive rookie wide receiver. In fact, I've got I was looking at reception perception. I don't know if you guys ever are on that website. They basically just focus on wide receivers, and they talk about the getting open percentages of all the different wide receivers. Chris Olave, his success rate versus man coverage, 74%. Success rate versus zone coverage, 82%. Success rate when he's being pressed at the line of scrimmage, 82% of the time he gets open. And against double coverage, getting open 67% of the time. They've got weapons. The Steelers do not. That's all you need to know. Go for the Saints.
Yeah, no, this isn't fair. -1.5 is quite ridiculous to me. I think that almost every game the Steelers play should be at least -3 against them. Just because it's Pittsburgh. Like, come on now. The -1.5, take it.
Yeah. No.
All right, Ben. We shall move on to your next game then.
Yeah, let's talk about this last game here. It's a little bit interesting one. It's the LA Rams and the Arizona Cardinals taking battle in LA. Now, who would have thought that this game would be so as it is at this point in the season? You know what I mean? Ultimately, what I see this game as, it's Arizona's mediocre offense versus the Rams' mediocre defense, and the Rams' bad offense versus Arizona's bad defense. Even when Murray can put up like a respectable performance, like last week, he went 25 of 35 for 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. What's his defense do? His defense gives up 31 points. He can't, what's he supposed to do then? You know, LA Rams actually sneakily have the second best red zone touchdown percentage allowed. Like defensively, defense wins games. I like the defense of the Rams to just outperform the defense of the Cardinals in this one. I think that though LA's offense has shown it's pretty uninspired this year, we know that they can get stuff going. It's not a team full of nobodies where you're like, oh, there's no shot that they're not Pittsburgh. Okay. They got weapons. They got Cup. There's going to be stuff to do. I like LA -1.5. Also, my prop bet is in here. I like Arizona under 19.5 points. I think that the red zone defense of the Rams comes in big, keeps them to only 1 touchdown, keeps them under 20. Yeah, I like it, and it's in plus money. So, why not ride with it? You know.
Well, you're right. The Rams do have a good defense, but their offense is awful. We talk about is Matthew Stafford healthy? The offensive line has not been healthy. Allen Robinson hasn't really ever become that wide receiver 2 that they were expecting. They're not getting a running game. But I think that we really got to point the finger at Sean McVay. First of all, the way he handled the whole Cam Akers thing, I'm gonna deactivate you, then I'm gonna try to trade you. Now I'm gonna try to put you back into the lineup and have you play. Last week, Cam Akers 5 carries, 3 yards. So he's completely botched the handling of Cam Akers. But I've got this graphic here I want to show you guys. So this is let me do it a little bigger than that. So there we are. So this is quarterback EPA per play under Sean McVay, broken down week to week. That bottom or that top blue line there is last year. That's the Super Bowl season. We know that they had that little midseason kind of swoon, but they got it together and won the Super Bowl. That bottom line, that bottom blue line is this year. So right now, this is the worst quarterback play that the Rams have gotten under Sean McVay, and it's because of Sean McVay. Jared Goff was a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford is right now. He operated a much better offense than Matthew Stafford does right now. It's shocking how bad they've become. And one of the things, 3.3 scoring opportunities per game is what the Rams have. Now that's a combination of touchdowns and field goal attempts. Those are scoring opportunities. They have 3.3 a game. That is the second worst in the NFL. This is the Super Bowl champions. Just 8 months ago, they were lifting a trophy. Now they are an awful offense. I don't know about whether or not I want to go with the Cardinals or the Rams, but I definitely want to go with the under because the Rams do play good defense. They play terrible offense. That to me says hit this under. I don't even know what it is. Let me look what that is here real quick. Tommy, go ahead.
I think it's at like 40 some when I was looking earlier because I wanted it to be my prop, but we said no point totals.
Tommy, go ahead and talk while I look this up. Tell us what you think.
So I have a little bit of a Kyle stat here. I'm pretty sure this is factual. I saw it somewhere on Instagram. But Kyler Murray is now 0-2 since the new Call of Duty came out.
He is. I saw that stat.
So I'm not seeing. And let me tell you, I am in a college house with college housemates. Right. Every day since that game has come out, I go upstairs, and all three of my roommates are playing the game together every day without fail. And if those kids can't get off the game, imagine about the guy who has a millions of dollar contract and is still throwing his career away to play this game. So I think I'm gonna have to go with the Rams here regardless, just because I gotta follow the trends, man.
That over under is 40.5. Can we easily see this being like a 17-13 kind of game? I can.
Easily, it feels like
that's optimistic. That's optimistic, Kyle. Jeez,
14-10, 13-9.
Going back to what you were saying about Sean McVay, though, I really think Sean McVay is going through the same kind of cycle that Matt Nagy went through. If Matt Nagy had a kicker, who knows what that Chicago team would have done? We're forgetting that Trubisky was a Pro Bowler that year. It was all behind. An offensive that was a little gimmicky. He had a couple. Once it had an offseason to get figured out, and it was on everyone's board, everyone came prepared, and Matt Nagy was exposed. He couldn't do anything afterwards. I'm wondering if Sean McVay has hit that point because right now his offense just is abysmal. It is absolutely night and day when looking at previous, Rams teams. And so I hope that Sean McVay can turn him around. He seems like a cool dude, and he's young, got that little hair gelled up. You know what I mean? Like you want to root for him, but I'm worried for him because in Chicago, and we've seen this before. So look out, Sean McVay. Let's turn this around, friend.
Well, he flirted with retiring in the offseason. So I'm wondering if there's even a little bit of a hangover from that, where if he's almost like in a Tom Brady situation where he's like, oh, I should have walked away. What am I doing? Why am I playing? Why am I here? It's interesting because everybody talks about him as he's the boy genius. He's the one who can tell you, oh yeah, on 3rd and 2 back at the 46-yard line in week 3 of 2017, I called this play because they were in this kind of a defense. He's like a savant when it comes to that. He's like Tommy when it comes to rushing totals. But he's not that way this year. So it's really interesting. All right. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Birch, you are now up with you've got 5 games for us this weekend.
Yes, I do. I was given the extra game this week, which is always nice. So first game is one of the easiest games for me this week. Houston Texans are traveling to New York Giants, and I have it at -4.5 here. So I thought it was -5. It was actually -4.5, which is a huge bonus because that 5 points was looking a little bit finicky to me. But New York Giants at 4.5 seems like almost guaranteed. Houston just isn't good this year. And I know they put up a decent early game fight against the Eagles last week, but the Eagles pulled away, and the Giants have a very capable defense. And the Houston does not have a consistent and capable offense. I think that's going to be the biggest differential in this game. And you know what? Plain and simple, Giants minus 4.5 here.
Well, what I think is problematic with the Giants is that everybody seems to have forgotten about them because they lost their last time out. They lost 2 weeks ago to the Seahawks. They were on a bye. Nobody's talking about them as this great story. They haven't won a lot of games by a lot of points. They won with comebacks in the fourth quarter. They've played a good schedule. I mean, you look at their 2 losses. Their 2 losses are to the Seahawks, who are our first place team, and then the Dallas Cowboys, who we all agree are one of the best teams in the NFC. And the Giants have beaten 2 first place teams. They beat the Titans and they beat the Ravens. Those are 2 first place teams in the AFC that they beat. They should get more credit than they're getting. And when they're hosting a team like the Houston Texans, who have 1 win and they have 6 wins, look, I think they should be a touchdown favorite in this. I like the Giants to win this game. And win this game. They're going to be in control of this game from the beginning, I think. And give them some credit. This is a good team.
Yeah, I'm right with you. Coming right off the bye week, big statement win back in New Jersey. I mean New York. I mean New Jersey. I like them. I like the Giants by minus 4.5 as well.
All right, Tommy.
All right.
Thank you. Next game, please.
Next game. I'm just getting locks on locks today. I can't say that right now because if that goes poorly, then I'm going to get a little soundbite again. I have Cleveland traveling to Miami, and the spread is at 3.5. And I think with one of the best offenses in football, Miami at 3.5 is disrespectful. Especially, I know that Cleveland can be capable on defense at times. It's Miami. Tyreek Hill is breaking records. He has 1,100 yards already. I think that was the most through week 9. Through 9 games, that's what it was. Most amount of yards through 9 games, which is incredible. And I think that the Cleveland Magic is really run dry. I don't think that they have that left in them to just just pull out a really well put together win. The Magic's gone. We know who they are. They're exposed. The Dolphins are good. Very good. Minus 3.5 all the way.
Only once in Dolphins history has a quarterback gone back-to-back with a 300-yard game, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Tua Tagovailoa, I don't know. I should have just said Tua. He did that last week. Dan Marino never did that. Brian Griese never did that. This is a franchise that's got a pretty storied history. And until last week, they had never had a quarterback do that in back-to-back weeks. Tua did it. And, at the beginning of the year, we all talked about all Tua does is just need to deliver the ball to Hill and Waddle. Let them do do a 3-yard pass and let them do the running. Tua actually leads the league in air yard or passes that are 10 yards or more air yards. He is not just dishing the ball to the guys to let them do the work. He's doing a lot of the work for them. He is throwing the ball downfield. He is throwing them open. It's not just they're getting open. Tua's doing a nice job of throwing them open. This guy, he missed 2.5 games because of the concussion, and so right now he's kind of down 4th or 5th in the MVP conversation. But if he continues this, he stays healthy through the second half, continues this kind of pace through the second half, the guy's going to get MVP votes, and he's going to deserve them because he is having that kind of season. And the Browns, they had a big win last week against the Bengals, or at least the last time they played. But so what? They're playing a much better team, and a much better team that deserves to have. I would put this spread at 5.5 to 6 points. I think the Dolphins win this by a touchdown or more, just because their offense is fantastic, and Hill and Waddle, and they're just fantastic, and Tua is fantastic, and I really love watching these guys play. And Brian Daboll has gotten a lot of good publicity for Coach of the Year, and deservedly so, Pete Carroll. But Mike McDaniel's down there in Miami doing a fantastic job as a new head coach. he better get some run for Coach of the Year because he is doing great things down in Miami. And they're not out of this with the Bills. They're only a half game behind the Bills in the AFC East. So who knows? Who knows what can happen? But I like the Dolphins here.
I actually want to mention really quick that for the record, before Tyreek was brought to Miami, I posted in the comment section of an Instagram post and said that Tua was going to be a top 5 passing yards quarterback in the NFL. And I had at least 30 people respond to me talking about how terrible of a football fan I was. So I think they can all suck it, and I win.
I think this is a great value spread line. It's coming off of a Browns big win over Cincy, and then also the Dolphins, allowing Chicago to score 32 on him. But don't take away from Justin Fields the respect that he deserves and the fact that he balled out, that Chicago is starting to actually call and run an offense built around Fields. They got Claypool over there for him, who was coming up and already making some plays. I think a lot of people see, Chicago scored big on Miami, they're going to lower the spread, when in reality, Chicago just played up. Chicago, and you got to admit, when a team plays higher than expectations, that's what Chicago did. I think the Lions are overreacting. I love Miami at -3.5.
Excellent. All right. Move on to your next game.
This one's tough because it's basically just about what we talked about with Detroit traveling to Chicago. And I do think that there's a little bit of consistency in the offense now. I gotta pick the -2.5 here. And Detroit, they pulled out an impressive win against the Packers, right? They stopped them on defense by coincidence, not by cause. However, they did.
I mean, they stopped them, but really it was.
Where is Aaron right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
But the Bears' offense has been very productive the last couple of games. It's been a whole different league for Justin Fields. He just broke the record for quarterback rushing yards in the game. Just beat Michael Vick's record by a couple of yards. And the Lions' defense is still bad, almost on paper, almost every week, but on the field every single week without fail. Give me the Bears -2.5.
Yeah, the Bears are the first team to rush for 225 yards in 4 straight games since the 1976 Pittsburgh Steelers. The Lions, not good on defense. The Bears are going to go for 250 yards rushing in this game. I just don't see I mean, I loved that Dan Campbell got a win, and I love that Dan Campbell got to tell us all how he was just going to go home and have a beer. That was the only thing he wanted to do after that win, was have a beer. He is us. We are Dan Campbell. And I want success for Dan Campbell, but not this week. It's not going to happen. Justin Fields, as we were talking about with that last game, that Fields offense is legitimate now, and they're gonna do just fine against the Lions.
Campbell wanted a beer after the last win. He's going to want 2 beers after what the Bears are going to do to him this week. I think that Chicago is figuring out that, hey, we can score. Hey, we can move the ball. Why not be a football team? And this is what's happening for Chicago right now. It's a great time to be a Bears fan. What an odd thing to say. It's November, and can you believe that we're out here saying that Chicago has a better offense than Green Bay? No one would have predicted that at the beginning of the season. How times change. Oh my goodness, 2022 is an insane year.
Yeah, I laid a preseason bet down on the Bears having the lowest win total in the NFL this year, and I'm not liking that bet at all at this point.
Oh, so. Kyle, you got to stick with the Raiders on that one.
Come on. You really had faith in Josh McDaniels? Come on now, get it together.
All right, moving on to your –
I do.
Yeah. Moving on from that game, this is going to be an interesting game here.
All right, so the Cowboys are traveling to Green Bay, right? The favorite is -5. I have to go with Dallas here. I don't think this is going to be a 3-point game. When you look at Green Bay putting up single-digit numbers against single-digit points, if I'm correct, I can't remember the score exactly, against the Lions defense, and Aaron having problems throwing the ball. Imagine
You
what
done
they're going to
messed
be
up,
like.
Aaron!
Imagine what they're going to be like against one of the best defenses in the league. Like this doesn't feel very close. I would actually put this at -6, maybe even higher. Cowboys win, and Cowboys win by a lot. Dak and the boys are going to run through Green Bay. I can't hear you.
Yeah,
You might
Kyle,
be
you're
muted.
muted.
I was muted. The Cowboys lead the NFL in pass rush win rate at 53%, and Micah Parsons is the individual who leads the league in pass rush win rate at 32%. Aaron Rodgers is in for a tough day. That's all.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers is in for a rough rest of the season. He's had a rough season. Listen to him talk in media. He just sounds freaking frustrated and just like he is physically and mentally hit that wall. We might have found the wall that Aaron Rodgers mentally cannot break through. He sounds about as fed up right now with life as he was trying to talk about his immunization on the JRE show. Let me tell you what, I don't know what's going on with the Green Bay Packers and with Aaron Rodgers, but hey, if you're going to lose to the freaking Lions, yeah, I think you lose to the Cowboys by at least 5. I love the Cowboys to cover -5.
You know, I mentioned that the Rams were averaging 3.3 scoring opportunities per game, which was second worst in the league. The worst team in the league is the Green Bay Packers at 3.1 scoring opportunities. This is the MVP, two-time reigning MVP, and he is working with the worst offense in football right now. It's pretty shocking, the turn of events.
At least he's got good insurance, right?
Yes, he does. All right, and your prop comes from this game too, right, Tommy?
That is correct. I completely forgot about that. I think that because Green Bay, their defense isn't terrible. They have some talent in the front seven. The linebacking core has been playing a little better every week. I think they're going to get some pressure. I see Dak clearing the pocket and rushing for a couple extra yards. I think the 11.5 rushing yards is a nice hit. I know -120 isn't a great win, but I think that 11.5 is a lock here. I think he might even go for 20.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I mean, it's not a large total, and it's a bad team. So
I hope he gets 11, just because I like your tears, Tommy.
Wow. See,
I'll send
I'm
you a
rooting
nice
for you,
little
Tommy.
glass of them too. I'll send them in express shipping too.
I'm disappointed in Ben right there because I'm rooting for you. I want everybody to win. I don't root against anybody.
I'm rooting for the listeners, but not for Tommy. This
I'm
is
rooting
a
for
moral
everybody. I'm rooting for everybody except for Denver.
Good. We enjoy haters.
All right, let's move on to your last game, which is probably an AFC Championship game preview. I think is what we're kind of thinking about for this game, right?
Yeah. Thanks for the worst game on the schedule, real quick. But
It's a randomizer. Randomizer. I have nothing to do with it.
That doesn't look like the correct spread to me.
It does not look like the correct spread. That should be a +6.
That should be a +6. I had it at +4.5. I had +4.5. +6 is even better. Indianapolis +6 on the Raiders. Lock it. All right. So here's my.
That looks better right there. Yeah, there we go.
So I was thinking about this. I kind of trashed on Sam Ehlinger a little bit the last couple of weeks. I watched some film, and I know watching film on Sam Ehlinger doesn't seem like something you do in your pastime. This is my job. I watch a lot of football, and I watch a lot of tape. And I said, you know what? I don't know a lot about this guy. I'm making judgments that I can't really base off of facts, just opinions. So let me watch some film, and the guy's not bad. I mean, he looks experienced in the pocket at times. He isn't a first read type of thrower. He knows how to make his reads from the front to the back end of the field. He understands defenses, and he's just inexperienced at this point. He's going to be a decent quarterback. I think he could end up being similar to like a Davis Mills type, where he kind of breaks out a little bit, has a good year at the end of the season. The Raiders are just I never want to speak of them again. They have done me dirty so many times this year. And the Colts, I think they're going to surprise Vegas. I think that's going to be a nice little, like, a quick tap to the jaw, +6. Give it to me.
I mean, Ellinger threw 29 passes last week, 103 total yards.
Yep.
He took 9 sacks. Now I know New England and Matthew Judon's having a great year, but you're taking 9 sacks. A lot of that is on the quarterback.
Yes.
So I mean that the overall offense for the Colts, 60 plays, 121 yards.
And
That
you know
is
what?
unwatchable offensive football. So good on you for sitting there and watching the extra film on that game, because I would just rather just stare at a wall.
I mean, we did say the same stuff about PJ Walker's first week, and it was even more extreme, significantly more extreme.
Yeah.
And PJ Walker.
Should we talk about PJ Walker's last game?
All right, we don't need to bring that up. PJ Walker went into the next game and performed at a fairly high level as well. So I think Sam Ehlinger has a little more of a potential to be consistently decent than PJ Walker does. PJ Walker is more like he's a flashbang. It's just like it's out of nowhere. He just surprises you and boom, 200 yards. But I think that Sam Ehlinger can be a consistent piece to help move the offense a little bit. And we're going to see a little bit of this against one of the worst teams in football.
Well, Ehlinger is being coached by a guy who just had to be introduced to him this week and didn't know his name, didn't know any of his staff's name. He's never conducted a meeting before. He's never actually reviewed film before. He's never, this is a guy who's not a coach, who's now the head coach.
He hasn't. So this is all right. This is actually something I need to bring up. Jeff Saturday, right? The center position.
I understand that.
The quarterback.
Years ago when he played, yes. He has never reviewed film as a coach. He's never been a position coach. He's never done any coaching at anything other than his son's high school, where he was 20-16. He was not even a good high school coach. He was a mediocre high school coach, and he is now one of 32 people in the world who has an NFL head coaching job.
All right.
It is absurd that man is coaching this team.
Understandable.
I'm sure it was very much like in Major League, when Lou Brown gets the phone call that he's going to be the head coach of the Indians, he's like, at least you could have said it was the Yankees to make it funny. I'm quite certain that when Jim Irsay called Jeff Saturday's like, what are you talking about? The head coach? I can come in and run like a clinic for you or something. The head coach of a guy who was working at ESPN.
Don't sleep. That's all I have to say. Jeff Saturday, I think he has potential to be a good coach. And that's not only because of him.
But why do you think that?
Because, first of all, he's a very experienced player, a very good player. And he wasn't a positional player where he had one job and that's the only job he has to do. The center is the one who communicates the most with the quarterback. He had a very, very good relationship with Peyton Manning. You can't forget that. And Peyton Manning is one of the best minds in football history. And if you communicate with that guy so much, and you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot. And I know we can look back to the high school level, but you have to understand this guy played however many years of pro ball, and you can't even compare coaching to the NFL to high school. There's a reason people have to work their way up through college, and it's a whole big deal. Like the
Right.
level of play and the speed and everything is just. I think Jeff Saturday, although I do think it is a crazy signing, I don't want to be quick to assume, because he has the potential to be able to lead this team, and he's definitely going to be a player's coach. The guys are going to rally behind it. You know, I have a little bit of a very cautious amount of optimism in Jeff Saturday.
I mean, he basically went from the mailroom to the CEO's office in a week. And I think it's got disaster written all over it. There's a reason why the Raiders, who are terrible, are 6-point favorites. And I don't want to keep talking about this game because it is the worst game of the day. But the Raiders, I just wanted to go through their third blown 17-point lead of the season. There's only been 5 blown leads of 17 points or more all year long in the NFL, and 3 of them belong to the Raiders. The Raiders from 1960, in the franchise history from 1960 to 2021, they blew 17-point leads 5 times. This year, in the first 8 weeks of the season, they've done it 3 times. This just goes along to what we've been talking about Josh McDaniels over the last several weeks. How I really thought he was going to be the next one to go. I was surprised that Frank Reich beat him to the punch. It really should have been McDaniels and not Reich. Reich has had 7 different quarterbacks in his 4 years as head coach there. To hold Reich responsible for the Colts' miseries. I mean, it was Irsay who wanted to change quarterbacks. It was Irsay who wanted to bring in Matt Ryan. It was Irsay who brought in Carson Wentz last year. It's Irsay is the problem there. And so Reich was a sacrificial lamb. But I would love it to see Jeff Saturday win. I'm rooting for him. To cause even more chaos for the Raiders would be fantastic. I know that former somebody who used to root for Josh McDaniels' team when he was a Broncos head coach would like to see Josh fall on his face even further. Do you have any thoughts on the Raiders and Colts there, Ben?
Just one thing I'd like to say. I'd like to shout out a very smart linebacker by the name of Blake Martinez, who decided to retire from football midway through the season rather than play a bunch of meaningless games for the Las Vegas Raiders. Good on you, sir. Know that your talents should not be wasted in Vegas for absolutely Skittles and rocks. Go get your money, enjoy retirement, Blake, and enjoy not having to wear that ugly black and silver every week. God bless you. God bless the family, and welcome home, friend.
The worst part is the guy led the team in tackles last week too. 11 tackles. And he leads the team in tackles. And he was the league leader in tackles from 2017 to 2020. And now he just retires in the season. You understand that you have to be like a ridiculous amount of just sick of your situation. He has to be so done with the franchise to lead the team in tackles with 11. And we're just like, all right, the Pavs, like, I don't want him anymore. Just give him back to the guys in management or something, you know? Like, poor guy.
All right, Tommy, much appreciated. We appreciate you, your 5 games there. Okay, it is now on to my games. And we are going to begin. Sie spielen Fußball in München am Sonntagmorgen. Das Freibüter sind die Favorite, aber Seattle ist 5-2 als Außenseiter. So siegen Sie den Falcon respect. Yes, I'm brushing off my B- German that I took in high school. We have the Seahawks and the Buccaneers in Munich this weekend. The Buccaneers are the favorites, but the Seahawks are 5-2 as underdogs. It's time to put some respect on the Seattle Seahawks. There's no way they should be underdogs to the Tom Brady Buccaneers, who, without a miracle last week, would have lost and would be dead. We would be putting forks in them. But because the Rams couldn't get a first down, because Sean McVay's offense couldn't get one freaking first down to win the game, the Bucs were able to come back and win. And now they go to Munich as the favorites against a first-place Seattle Seahawks team that is legitimate. I hate that. I hate that they're the favorites. So you better believe that I'm going to nehmen die Punkte, which is take the points, because Sie Falcon gewinnen. Falcons will, the Seahawks. See, Falcon is Seahawks. Will win this game outright. I don't think that the Buccaneers deserve to even be in this showcase game in Germany, let alone the favorites. I'm rolling with Seattle in this game by, I think they're going to win by 7 to 10 points.
Want to be a very funny string of events to see Geno Smith outplay Tom Brady this week. That is going to be wonderful. I'm going to enjoy it very much. A very big, not what we expected 5 years ago. I mean, I'm very excited for this game. I think that I'm really excited for every Seattle game at this point. I think every time they find a way on the field, they make some magic happen, and they're definitely a worthy watch on every Sunday. So, I think Seattle plus 2.5 is so lenient, and they really, really have to stop putting the Seahawks as the underdog.
The Buccaneers aren't even good in Florida. How are they supposed to be good in Europe? I love Seattle plus 2.5 here. I'd love them at minus 2.5.
As Tom Brady has said to us, this
I
is
think there's a
Tom.
lot of bad football from what I watch. I watch a lot of bad football, a lot of poor quality of football. That's what I see.
We need to stop
Well, and-
studying that poor quality of football. Tell you
Yeah,
what.
he sees more of it than we do because I'm sure he watches his own film and sees a lot of bad football being played by him and the Buccaneers. Go Seattle. Yes, I'm all on the Seahawks here. All right. Obviously, the game that everybody can't wait for. It's the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just want to tout the rookies here. The Chiefs defense is getting healthy. Trent McDuffie is back. He was back last week versus the Titans. Now, that's not a great test because they don't have any wide receivers. But McDuffie in 45 coverage snaps this season has yet to allow a catch. Pretty good for Trent McDuffie. Rookie pass rush win rate. Aiden Hutchinson leads the of all rookie pass rushers. George Karlaftis is number 2. That puts him ahead of both Kayvon Thibodeau and Trayvon Walker, the number 1 pick of the Jaguars. And I just don't see much happening for the Jaguars in this game. Jaguars 29th in pass block win rate. That to me says Chris Jones is going to feast in this game. My prop also comes from this game. Obviously, the Chiefs defense is still vulnerable. So what I'm going to bet on is anytime TD parlay. Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Etienne are going to score. That's plus 320. The Jaguars actually aren't that bad in defending tight ends. They've only allowed 2 different tight ends to go over 50 yards this year, but they have given up a number of big games to wide receivers. So Travis Kelce's numbers may be a little suppressed. Juju Smith-Schuster steps in. He's really gotten into a role with the Chiefs the last 3 games. I think Juju finds the end zone. Travis Etienne looks like a star. He's been fantastic. Makes us really sad that we missed him last year because of that injury, but man, he looks fantastic this year. I think he finds the end zone as well. But overall, the Chiefs are going to cover this spread. It's at 9.5. I think 10 points is easily doable for the Chiefs. They don't cover a lot of spreads compared to the record, but they didn't cover the last week's spread, so they'll cover this one to go ahead and make up for it. That's about what they do. They cover the spread about 550% of the time there. That's where I'm going with this. Chiefs to cover and Juju and Travis Etienne to score touchdowns.
This game is just, there's always one game every other week or maybe every week at times where there isn't really much that you can say in favor of the underdog. The Kansas City Chiefs are one of the best teams in football. Jacksonville Jaguars are one of the worst teams in football. Let's just leave it there. Chiefs minus 9.5. I do like the parlay though. I think the way both of these teams have been playing against those positions, and Travis Etienne has proven himself to be one of the better young players in the league right now, and he is consistently productive because Trevor Lawrence can't make a throw unless it's right out of the backfield. So Travis Etienne gets a lot of catches. I like the parlay a lot, and that spread it's just tasty. Love it.
I think that Arrowhead is going to be bouncing. A big win for the Kansas City Chiefs. Sneakily, MVP of the game will once again be the Kansas City crowd, as they will rattle a young Trevor Lawrence, get a couple false starts there, and maybe cause a turnover too. I love the Kansas City Chiefs here, minus 9.5.
All right, a game that our friend Tommy here might be watching. This is going to be the Sunday night game. Los Angeles Chargers at the San Francisco 49ers. This is for the San Francisco to go to 3-0 versus teams from Los Angeles. The California rivalry between North and South. The North definitely has the advantage in football right now. They've already swept the Rams, going to beat the Chargers. So these are what running backs have done against the Chargers. Kenneth Walker, 168 yards. Tyler Algier, 123 total yards. Nick Chubb, 134 yards. Damian Pierce, 131 yards. James Robinson, 116 total yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 118 total yards. Do the 49ers have anybody who can run the football? Do they have any good running backs on that team? I think they do. I think they can run the ball. I think that Christian McCaffrey is a pretty good running back. The misery that the Chargers have at stopping running backs will continue. McCaffrey, Debo on the field, man. There's that pass rush that we're talking about, good front fours. There's nobody better than the 49ers at making the most of their down linemen, man. And obviously the Chargers offensive line is still banged up. It's going to be a tough day for the Chargers, the 49ers role in this one.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. I've said that for almost every one of your games so far because you're making good picks, Kyle. You're making great picks.
Yeah, obviously.
49ers, they have for the last couple of years under Shanahan been incredibly successful in the run game, despite who you put back there. If you have a productive run game, and then you put one of the best running backs in football into a productive run game, what do you expect to happen? And then you play against one of the worst run defenses in the game. Christian McCaffrey will have MVP votes after this game. And I think that's a genuine conversation that needs to be had.
Charger fans are used to seeing this Shanahan heavy run offense. They're used to, they saw it from the dad, and now it's like going back in time. You see in Shanahan and McCaffrey. Ooh, hate to be them. Hate to have those night terrors. I love the 49ers here, -7.
All right. And my final game, which is not going to be nearly as compelling as a Sunday night game, is the Monday night game. Washington Commanders at Philadelphia Eagles. Now, yeah, I've got the Commanders covering this spread because I think this game is going to go very much like the Eagles game last Thursday went, where they played the Houston Texans. They were in control from the very beginning. They never looked like that they were in a threat to lose the game, but they did not cover the spread because the spread was big. I like the Commanders to cover here, and for one reason. The last time these two teams played, Carson Wentz was the quarterback, and the Eagles won big. They would have covered this spread back when they played in Washington. But Carson Wentz is not the quarterback anymore. Taylor Heineke is. This is Taylor Heineke. Washington is 2-1 with Heineke at quarterback. Their one loss was only by 3 points. They played close, solid football. They've got the Heineke to McLaurin connection is good. They've got a really nice working relationship with Antonio Gibson and Robinson, the rookie running back. Gibson catching balls out of the backfield. Robinson, their main go-to guy, getting carries. I like the Commanders to keep this one under 10 points. They will lose the game. The Eagles will continue to be undefeated. They won't ever actually be threatened by the Commanders. But the Commanders are going to play them tough. They're going to play them solid because Taylor Heineke is that kind of quarterback. So Eagles go to 9-0, but the Washington Commanders do keep it close and cover this spread.
I think that Washington should be considered probably the best storyline team that we've had so far this year. I mean, you get an XFL guy starting a quarterback that came off the bench to a new signing after proving that he was capable of winning games last year. Then you have one of your rotational starting running backs. The story with him earlier in the season. There's not much you can really say about that except for only positive things. He's one of the favorite players in the league right now. And then you have Scary Terry, who's played with a multitude of different starting quarterbacks, yet he still finds a way to produce and stays positive through it all. I mean, I think the energy that this offense gives just from the positive vibes on its own, and Heineke in the locker room, those guys, they're going to keep it close. It's not going to be as drastic as a lot of people think it might be. I'm taking the +11 with you.
I've been saying it all season. You can have a 10-point win and it still be very dominant, especially this year when scoring is down. I think that I'm with Kyle when on this one when I pick the Commanders +11, but still a very dominating performance from the Eagles. and a very easy win for them. But yeah, it's Taylor time. Why not just lock that down, you know?
Yeah, no, like you mentioned, Tommy, the story of Brian Robinson, shot multiple times as he's getting held up back, and now the best running back on the team, really proving that he's got it. His preseason was not a fluke. This guy is for real. And if they can jettison Daniel Snyder like it looks like might happen, this could be a fun team in the future. Get a good ownership group in there. If Matthew McConaughey actually is part of that ownership group and he's the guy giving the pregame pep talks, count me in. I am all right. I am ready for that. So man, that would be awesome if we could get Daniel Snyder out of there and make the Commanders a good franchise again. All right, that is our Monday game. That is our last game of the weekend. So we now move on to our picks. And as the winner, Ben, of our game, you get to pick first your favorite, your top dog, and your easy money line.
Yeah, so my favorite is going to be the Chicago Bears. Can I even believe that I'm saying it? I can, because they're playing the Lions, and oh my goodness, they look like a football team. My underdog is going to be Seattle's an underdog, right?
Seattle is an underdog.
I'm going to take Seattle as my underdog, just to diversify away from the money line. I like Seattle to win there, and you know that my money line, I'm gonna bring it home on the Denver Broncos. I think that this is a win that they need to have if Nathaniel Hackett wants to remain employed.
Well, I heard someone say way back in week 1, if you're getting plus money on the Broncos, you take it. So you're getting plus 120 on the Broncos, you take it, right?
You take that.
That's a no-brainer.
A no-brainer for some questionable people out there. But yeah. We'll take it, right?
All right, Tommy. Your favorite, your top dog, and your easy money line.
All right. So for my favorite, I am going to take. I'm thinking we're going Miami here.
All right, I like it. Only giving up 3.5. Good pick.
My top dog. I'm making a quick pivot here. My top dog. Oh, I'm going to have to go with Denver.
All right, Denver as your top dog. Interesting. And your money line, please.
And for my money line, give me. What was Ben's money line again? I just want to make sure
he chose the Broncos.
All right, then give me Seattle. We'll do a little flip flop.
Seattle at plus 125. All right. So my favorite is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. My top dog for the week, I am going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. And my money line pick of the week is going to be the New Orleans Saints. They're only minus 126. It's negative money, but I need a win, and they are going to get it to me because the Pittsburgh Steelers are garbage. All right. We have week 10 in the books for us. Week 10 is coming up for the NFL. We appreciate all of you guys for joining us, either here on YouTube or through our podcasts. We do both video and audio. You can check us out. All your podcast players also here, of course, video. And we recommend you watch us visually because we have fun graphics. There's a lot of eye rolling going on as people make picks. It's worth watching for sure. Tommy always has a different hat on. Tonight he's got our Sports 2.0, one of our sponsors, our sponsor, USA Wager. We want to thank them. We are all writers for the Noop Sports Network, And that is how we came to be. That is where we get our football information as NFL writers. And of course, Tommy plays actual football. And we're going to get some coming up. We're going to have some Tommy mic'd up on the practice field coming up here in weeks to come. So you definitely want to watch for that. Thank you again for joining us. Make sure you tell your friends, your family, your neighbors, your strangers, your mailman, your milkman, anybody that you know should watch us. We try to help you out and give you the best betting information we have available to us. And this weekend, we are excited. Week 10, the second half of the season begins. And that is our show for the night. Thank you again for joining us. On behalf of my two colleagues, Ben O'Connell in Chicago, Tommy Birch in Massachusetts, I am Kyle Garland in Denver, Colorado. Thank you very much for joining us. Happy betting, everybody.
Bang, bang, Niner game.
Let's ride.